Breaking news is coming in right now, and what we are about to cover could mark a turning point in modern naval warfare. According to official statements from Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, United States Navy destroyer operating in the Indian Ocean has been struck under what Tehran calls Operation True Promise 4. If confirmed, this is not routine escalation. This is a direct challenge to the assumption that American warships protected by some of the most advanced systems ever built are untouchable in open waters. For decades, that belief has defined global naval power. But what happens when that belief is suddenly broken? What happens when the battlefield expands far beyond coastal defense zones, into the open ocean itself? Because this is not just another strike. This is a signal. A signal that the rules of engagement may be changing in real time. And if that's true, everything that follows could look very different. This strike did not happen in isolation. It is part of a broader campaign Operation True Promise 4 announced by Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. According to Iranian sources, this is already the 19th official statement tied to the operation, indicating a sustained and coordinated military effort rather than a single event. The reported strike involved two key systems, QR-3 ballistic missiles and cruise missiles. This combination is critical. It suggests planning, sequencing, and strategic intent. Not just launching weapons, but executing a layered attack designed to achieve a specific outcome. Iran is not presenting this as retaliation alone. It is presenting it as part of a structured military doctrine, a campaign. And campaigns are not random. They are designed to send messages, not just to one opponent, but to the entire region. What makes this strike especially significant is not just what was used, but when it was used. According to available information, Iranian forces had been tracking the destroyer for an extended period. They were waiting for the moment when the ship would be most vulnerable. And that moment came during mid-sea refueling. At sea, refueling is a complex and delicate operation. The warship is physically connected to a supply vessel, limiting its maneuverability. Crew focus shifts from combat readiness to logistics. In that moment, the destroyer is not at full defensive capacity. It cannot move freely. It cannot react instantly. And that is exactly when the strike was launched. This was not luck. This was timing. Precision timing based on intelligence and patience. The weapon combination used in this attack reveals a deeper level of tactical sophistication. The QR-3 ballistic missile reportedly operates at hypersonic speeds during its terminal phase, making interception extremely difficult. At the same time, cruise missiles approach from low altitude, flying close to the surface of the water, designed to evade radar detection. Together, they create a two-layered threat, one from above, one from below radar. This is known as a saturation attack. The goal is simple: overwhelm defensive systems by forcing them to respond to multiple threats at once, each with different speed, trajectory, and detection profiles. This is not improvisation. This is advanced military planning. And if executed successfully, it represents a serious challenge to existing naval defense systems. To understand the scale of this claim, you need to understand the target. The Arleigh Burke-class destroyer is one of the most advanced surface combatants in the world. Equipped with the Aegis combat system, it can track hundreds of targets simultaneously. It carries dozens of vertical launch missiles, capable of intercepting incoming threats before they reach the ship. It is designed specifically to defend against missile attacks. In other words, this ship exists to stop exactly this kind of strike, which is why the claim matters so much. If such a vessel can be successfully hit under combat conditions, it raises serious questions, not just about one incident, but about the balance between offensive missile technology and defensive naval systems. Reports suggest that both the destroyer and its accompanying supply vessel were hit. The supply vessel, carrying massive fuel reserves, significantly amplifies the scale of potential damage. Fuel fires at sea are extremely difficult to contain. They spread rapidly, they burn intensely, and they create visible plumes that can be detected from long distances. Financially, the impact is staggering. A destroyer alone can cost over $2 billion. Add a supply vessel and fuel cargo, and the total damage could exceed $2.5 billion. But beyond cost, there is symbolism. Because this is not just about hardware. It is about vulnerability. As reports spread, another layer of the story begins to emerge: the information war. Iranian media, along with Russian and Chinese outlets, are actively reporting the strike, but the Pentagon has remained silent. No confirmation, no denial. And in military communication, silence can be meaningful. Historically, when claims are false or exaggerated, responses tend to come quickly. But when information is still being verified, when the situation is complex, communication slows, becomes controlled, measured. So the question is not just what is being said, but what is not being said, because in conflicts like this, information itself becomes a battlefield. If this strike is confirmed, the implications are enormous. For decades, U.S. naval dominance has relied on a core assumption that its ships are protected by unmatched defensive systems. But that assumption is now under pressure. Recent reports involving the USS Abraham Lincoln already hinted at this shift. Now, a destroyer in open ocean waters may have been struck. This changes the equation. Because deterrence is built on belief, and when belief weakens, so does deterrence. The impact of this event goes far beyond the battlefield. Energy markets are already reacting. The Strait of Hormuz controls a major portion of global oil supply. Any escalation in this region directly affects global prices, and higher oil prices ripple through everything: transportation, manufacturing, food supply. At the same time, political pressure builds. In the United States, rising fuel costs are felt immediately by the public, and in times of conflict, economic pressure quickly becomes political pressure. This is how military events turn into global consequences. So where does this leave us? If the reports are accurate, we are entering a new phase of conflict, one where distance no longer guarantees safety, one where even the most advanced naval systems face new challenges. Iran has framed this as retaliation, as part of an ongoing campaign, and that suggests more could follow. Because wars don't just escalate through weapons, they escalate through responses. And right now, the world is waiting to see what happens next. Because whatever comes next may define the future of this conflict.